Many international students are protesting in Brampton and they are demanding for their work permit extension. Their future is at stake.
A lot of international students do have work permits, and we're trying to align those work permits with the needs in the workplace. The reality in some cases is that some students will have to have a difficult decision as to whether they leave the country or not.
Will you take any action and will you fulfill their demands?
I'm not going to speak for them. People are in a democratic country. They're allowed to protest. But at the end of the day, when people came in here and decided to be students, it wasn't a guarantee to become a permanent resident.
Do you have any input regarding this study visa program, that this program has also been exploited?
When we face challenges from countries and we feel that the safety of Canadians is compromised, we have to stand up. And I think that is, regardless of the impact that that can have on the visa system, we have challenges with the government of India, and the impact on those visas that are accorded is significant. So we'll continue to work with that in a very difficult geopolitical context.
Joining with us, Immigration Minister Marc Miller and MP Gagandeep Singh. Minister, welcome to the Red FM.
Thank you for having me on.
So immigration is a vast topic and everyone is looking on it every day, and your government is now doing a major changes nowadays. My first question is, how are you seeing the things of immigration going on? Is it as per your experience? Is it aligning with your expectations?
Yeah, and as you said, this is a topic that is very important to the future, the present, but also the future of the country. How we see ourselves as Canadians. We're a country built on immigration. Other than Indigenous peoples, we've all come here, whether it's 8, 10 generations ago, or 1 or 2, or even just last year. I've been the Minister of Immigration for a year and a half. It has been a huge challenge, but something I think that I've spent most of my time trying to make sure that Canadians have a sense that the immigration system is one that we can be proud of, that is managed, that is under control. I froze the permanent resident levels last year because I wanted to take a look at where we were going as a country, and spent the last year listening to Canadians and talking to Canadians. And what was clear, as I took some very important measures to reduce the number of temporary residents here, including international students, to make sure that that flow is more manageable, that we had to reduce permanent residency by a little over 20%, which I did just 2 weeks ago. You know, these come with some challenges, but I think largely Canadians are saying, well, this is something that makes sense and is our best sort of picture of what will happen over the next 3 years in a less than ideal world. So I think, and I'm quite confident, that these are the right measures that we're taking. But there's always a balance there, and that is what we try to achieve. What may be important for people in Vancouver or Surrey is not the same as what might be needed in Prince George. So making sure that provinces are being responsible, institutions, colleges, employers are being responsible. All of them come to me and say we need more and more and more. But that comes with a lot of challenges, and I think that's something we have to get right as a country, and I think this plan gets it right.
There are always two sides of reaction that come when you make a decision. A large number of people are appreciating this, and many are saying that these are just cosmetic changes by your government. More people are saying that a permanent immigration ban should be put in place now, and there should be no immigration for the next 4 to 5 years.
Look, I think people are entitled to their own opinions. We studied different measures that could be taken over the next 3 years. Any measure more significant than what I took has an impact on the economy, a recessionary impact. We're a country that is not able to have a natural growth in our population. It's close to zero, deaths versus births.
That's also a concerning...
And a huge concern, because if we have an aging population, we are proud as Canadians about our healthcare system that is free, all the services that we provide, and we compare ourselves to our cousins to the south of us in the US and say to ourselves, we're very proud to have these. But if we have an aging population that has a lot of pressure on the system, we need a young labor force contributing to the tax base. So a moratorium or an end to immigration for 3 years doesn't make sense economically. It doesn't make sense on a humanitarian basis. Unless we have magically some baby boom that we'll still have to wait 20 years for people to start working, this isn't going to, it's not going to proceed that way. So what I tried to do is, with 20% reduction, is to make sure that we can have a managed flow of migration, whether it's temporary or permanent, to make sure that people are coming are not putting undue pressure on affordability, are able to integrate sectors where they are needed, making sure we're aligned with the economy, and something that we can continue to be proud of. You can imagine the uproar you would hear from people saying, well, what happened to my parents and grandparents? What happened? I mean, you're not going to let me bring in my spouse or my child. That wouldn't make sense. So those conversations are important to happen, and I'm not going to demonize people that say that. But I think this year's measures are ones that are reasonable.
The recent closure of the student direct stream has raised concern among students. Can we expect the student visa process to become more selective, and will this help ensure visas are granted to those with genuine study intentions?
Yeah, and when I looked at the program itself, it largely became less useful with the number of changes I made as a policy measure over the last 12 months. And so it was important to end those programs. With the lower number of visas being accorded to colleges and universities, it allows us to better manage the relationships we have with countries from where those students come from. It's no surprise to your viewers and listeners that we have challenges with the government of India, and the impact on those visas that are accorded is significant. So we'll continue to work with that in a very difficult geopolitical context. My number one job as a minister, as is Randeep's, is to keep people here safe. And when we face challenges from countries and we feel that the safety of Canadians is compromised, we have to stand up. And I think that is, regardless of the impact that can have on the visa system, we think this is something that we can manage. But again, it's something that we have to be constantly vigilant on when it comes to.
Do you have any input regarding this study visa program, that this program has also been exploited, or it may have been used as a tool to come to Canada?
Well, look, people that come here under that program need to study. They're not here only to study, they also work. It cannot be used in a fashion that it's not intended towards. Since 2017, 2018, we've been using biometrics. We were able to have a better security profile on people that are coming here compared to perhaps what we had 10 years ago. But the security of the country starts first outside the country. It happens at the border and within the country. To suggest that Canada is impermeable and no one can get in is just false. But we have to make sure that we're vigilant when it comes to according the visa, and make sure that people have the proper screenings when they come in.
My last question is, many international students are protesting in Brampton, and they are demanding for their work permit extension. Their future is at stake. How your government is seeing to their demands, and will you take any action, and will you fulfill their demands?
Well, a lot of international students do have work permits, and we're trying to align those work permits with the needs in the workplace. The reality in some cases is that some students will have to have a difficult decision as to whether they leave the country or not. And I'm not going to speak for them. People are in a democratic country. They're allowed to protest. But at the end of the day, when people came in here and decided to be students, it wasn't a guarantee to become a permanent resident.
Because the asylum cases which are coming are also making alarming concern. So how are you dealing with these cases?
Well, we have a system in Canada that we're quite proud of. It's an independent refugee board that takes the decision. It isn't me. I do believe that a number of these claims are not ethical. If someone is a student, they've been studying here, their life is not in danger, the circumstances in their home country has not changed, they shouldn't be filing for asylum claims. It actually makes the rest of the system look bad. So I think those are measures that we need to continue to crack down on. There's no one single solution that'll end this overnight. And in fact, given the numbers, this is a situation that could potentially get worse before it gets better. But making sure that the Immigration Refugee Board, which a lot of countries envy us for having, that allows people to get a sense of, that allows a board to determine whether someone is a true refugee or not, is something we can be proud of. But when the volume increases and when it's being exploited, whether it's by immigration consultants that are counseling these people to claim asylum, it undermines the integrity of the system. It's something we need to constantly address, and I will be acting accordingly in the next few months.
Yes, thank you so much, Minister, for talking to us.